Baby Doge today because as you can see, we are close to our target level at 8Z1. We have stopped here at about 8Z 1200. So we got to talk about where our next levels are with Baby Doge as well as Bitcoin. Anyways, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. But let's go straight over this. So right now we are down 22% in the last month, 13% in the last week, and in the last 24 hours, 1.5%. Still have some low volume at $11 million, which is still pretty low. And it's been like that for like the last few months. So we definitely need to increase that volume. The market cap is decent, 208 million, but the volume definitely needs to be increased. But look at this. This is what we've been watching this whole week with Baby Doge. We are making our way down here to 8Z 1160, 1170. Let's just keep it at 1170. But yeah, we're making our way back down to this 1170 area here at the Fibonacci. So prepare for that. We've already hit it before, but usually when we get all the way down here, we usually end up breaking that Fibonacci and actually, or breaking the support here, the minor support, and actually going all the way down to the Fibonacci at 8Z 1110. So you're going to see 8Z 111 coming very soon. And then, like I said, we still have the potential to break down here. On the 4-hour chart, it is ready to recover, as you can see here, but sometimes it takes longer. This is the percent R trend exhaustion for these indicators. You can see over here how this bar is coming all the way over here, and then it finally recovers. So we might have a similar situation here with Baby Doge, where you see this bar extending itself and then recovering. And that's probably going to look like us going down to 8Z1 or 8Z11. So we're going to see one of those areas coming up very soon inside of Baby Doge. And this is just the 4-hour chart. If you look at the hourly chart, it's currently trying to recover. And then if you come over here and look at the 30-minute chart, the 30-minute chart is in pullback territory. Look at how it's overbought here on the trend or the percent R trend exhaustion. Look at how it is literally overbought here. So you're going to see that pullback happening, meeting this blue line down here. And then hopefully it can continue upwards from there. But it's probably going to end up continuing a little bit downwards. Like I said, with the 4-hour chart, the 4-hour chart can extend itself a little bit longer with the percent R. And it could go a little bit lower, like I said, 8Z11 or 8Z1. Those are the two levels we're eyeing. Same thing on the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart still overbought here. Still going to get that same pullback here. So you're still going to see Baby Doge pulling back to 8Z1. And let's see for the 5-minute. Yeah, the 5-minute chart is in the process of pulling back now. So we're definitely pretty bearish here with Baby Doge inside the short term. But if you look at the 4-hour chart in the long term, once this bar is done extending itself, once this is done dropping, coming down to the support areas of either 8Z1 or 8Z11, once it does that, then we're going to have that pump. And that's what this 4-hour chart is telling us. It's definitely ready to pump, but we have to pull all the way back to those support lines for that pump to actually happen. Same thing here on the daily chart. If you look at the daily chart hasn't even came all the way down here to the bottom to the point where it's ready to start, considering itself oversold, which means 8Z11 again and 8Z1. So these are very, very, very important areas. And I would be extremely happy if we see it go all the way down to 9Z8, because that would be a really good buying opportunity. Imagine buying all the way down at 9Z8. So that would give you huge gains just going back up to 8Z 1300. That'd be 60% going back up to 8Z 1300. Going back all the way up here to the Fibonacci at 1500. That shows at about 90% pretty much. So yeah, 8Z or 9Z8 would be a really nice level for us to hit. Hypothetically speaking, if we did 8Z1, you still have good gains coming up here to the 1350 area. That's still 35%. Coming up here to the 1500 area, that's still 50%. So you're still looking at a good amount of gains if we do these pullbacks down here to the supports. Last time we went to 8Z8, we almost immediately recovered. Like literally, it was crazy how it happened. If you look down here, we almost immediately recovered from that. Like that was absolutely crazy. In the matter of 2 weeks, so it says 14, 15 days, we went up a whole of 200% in 2 weeks. 200% in 2 weeks. Now, I do believe that's when we had the whole Binance craze when we got listed, but something else could happen to where we do the same thing and do 200% in 2 weeks. So always watch out for the prices here in Baby Doge because when you see those discounts, it recovers almost immediately when you go down to 8Z1 or 9Z8. Like the recovery is almost immediate. Now with Bitcoin, we are at 113K, 4%. We're approaching that 112K level. Well, we already hit the 112K level I've been talking about at that Fibonacci support. I mentioned it was going to hit that level because that's the same exact level we hit back here. Let me close this so you can see that. Same exact level that we hit back here on the 2nd of August as well. On the 5th of August, we did a double bottom there. And then now you can kind of see us hitting the same level here again. Now I wanted to talk about the odds of recovery from here because again, the 4-hour chart you can see has some overselling here on the MACD as well as here on the %R trend exhaustion. So you can see the trend is on the downside, but it's ready to flip to the upside. Whenever it extends itself a little more, then you see that blue up arrow. That's indicating that it's ready to recover. So we're probably going to end up getting a recovery here soon inside of Bitcoin. I've been mentioning 112K is that support zone. Now for the daily chart, I will say the daily chart does not look as good, but we did the same exact thing before and stopped halfway here on the daily chart and then recovered. So the same thing might happen where we stop halfway here and then we recover here on the daily chart like this, and we also recover here with the trend exhaustion. So there's that possibility that we can have a recovery like that and do the same thing that we did last time. But we also have to take into account, what if we do not do that? What if we actually end up going lower? So you can see here on the weekly chart, we are very much overbought on the weekly chart. Honestly, if I'm just looking at the weekly chart, I'm staying far away from buying any Bitcoin. Just looking at the weekly chart, look at how overbought it is here on the trend exhaustion. That is actually crazy. Let's maximize this so we can actually see it. So for you that don't know what the %R trend exhaustion is, this pretty much just tracks the short-term and long-term trends of whatever you're looking at. The blue line down here is the long-term trends, right? And then the white line is the short-term trends. But look at how the short-term trend has now switched positions with the long-term trend. Now you're seeing the short-term trend coming down here, and you're just seeing the long-term just way overbought. Usually when it's way overbought like this, it has a big massive pullback, and we are in that territory where we're having a big massive pullback on the trend exhaustion charts. So if we have that trend exhaustion there, but we look at this weekly chart, what happened last time we had the same exact type of trend exhaustion? Actually, it looks exactly like it did back here. Back at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, it looks the exact same. Like the charts are literally almost the exact same. What happened? Well, what we see happen here is that big massive pullback off there. We pulled back from 108K all the way down here to 74K. I'm not saying that we're going to do the exact same thing. We might pull back a little bit less. I was looking at this saying 112K. Then after that, we got to look at the 108K support here because that was previous resistance, previous all-time high as well. And then we got to look at 99K. That's the last major support we hit before we actually came all the way up to where we are now. We hit that back in June. So 99K is really my target zone for this. I believe Bitcoin is going to pull back to 99K. Just looking at this weekly chart, that's kind of what it looks like. Okay, and then you can see the MACD is also starting to sell off as well. Now we could also come over here and look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart is also overbought, and you can kind of see that here. It was oversold. It was oversold at first. You can see with the trend exhaustion, but it quickly reversed, and now you're seeing that short-term trend upwards, and now it's going to probably pull back and bring Bitcoin back down a little bit more. So overbought there, overbought here. You can see we were oversold, but now on the short term line here, we're overbought. So you can also see that there. And then if you look at the 5-minute chart, overbought. So yeah, we are looking for a pullback here on Bitcoin. That's pretty much what I'm seeing here. Now, both the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin and Baby Doge look almost the exact same. Like it looks like it wants to be bullish, but it might take it a little bit for it to pull back and then try to recover. So again, I do believe that we are in a good recovery zone on the 4-hour, but why is the 4-hour showing us we could recover soon when we look more at the long-term point of view and we see the weekly chart says we're way overbought? The weekly chart is very, very, very much overbought. I don't know how to get this out of the way so we could actually see it even better. I can click hide, but then it hides everything. But yeah, the weekly chart here telling us a completely different story. It's saying we're overbought. So that is something that you definitely want to pay attention to and watch out for. So I'm paying attention to this weekly chart more than the 4-hour because the weekly is way more long term and the weekly is overbought here on Bitcoin. So it could stay overbought for a long time. Like you can see, it's been up here since, if you want to say January, February of last year. But when it comes down, it does pull back, but it doesn't necessarily crash. It just has that pullback. And as you can see here, it's just like a falling wedge. But look, it has that pullback followed by that pump. And then you can also see here, has that pullback here. You can see the same thing, followed by the pump. Now we're in another zone where we could be getting a pullback, maybe 99K possibly. Or we might stop here at 112K, followed by what? Possibly another pump. So that's what I'm seeing here inside of Bitcoin. I think the last pump is going to bring us to 150K, and then we're going to be done, possibly stopping at 130, possibly. But yeah, this is pretty much all I got for you all today. I just kind of wanted to break this down. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'll make a whole separate video on Bitcoin for those who don't care about Baby Doge and just want to see only Bitcoin. I'll make a whole video on Bitcoin. Yeah, this is all I got for y'all today. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. As always, I'll be back with another video.